War has always pushed humans beyond their limits. But what most people don't see is how chemistry plays a role in that. In modern warfare, drugs have become silent weapons, used to keep soldiers awake, alert, and aggressive. These substances allow military personnel to go longer without food or sleep, to fight harder, and to fear less. But they also come with a cost. During World War II, Nazi Germany distributed a drug called Pervitin, essentially methamphetamine. It was given to troops to help them stay awake and active for days. German soldiers used it during the invasion of France, marching for more than 36 hours without stopping. Fueled by chemicals, they became unstoppable machines. But that power came with consequences. Many became addicted, suffered hallucinations, or collapsed from exhaustion and heart problems. On the other side, Allied forces also used amphetamines. British and American troops took go pills to stay alert during missions. Fighter pilots, in particular, relied on stimulants to stay focused during long flights. These drugs helped them perform better, but when the high faded, depression, paranoia, and addiction followed. So, yes, both sides used drugs. The so-called good guys and the bad guys. The difference? One side might say their use was controlled or medical. But the reality is more complex. When soldiers on all fronts are pushed to the limit with drugs, the lines between right and wrong start to blur. In modern times, the drugs have changed, but the logic hasn't. Today, special forces in several countries use Modafinil, a prescription drug that promotes wakefulness. It's used for long missions where rest is impossible. Some governments test new substances to reduce fear and increase endurance. These aren't street drugs, they're lab-designed, regulated, and legal in some cases. But they still alter the mind and body. They still raise questions about ethics and long-term health. And then there are the unofficial drugs. In places like Vietnam or Afghanistan, soldiers often turn to marijuana, heroin, or alcohol to escape the stress of combat. These drugs weren't issued by the military, but they became a part of war life. Many veterans came home with addictions, psychological trauma, and memories they couldn't forget. But it's not just official armies using drugs. Insurgents, paramilitaries, and extremist groups also rely on substances. In West Africa, child soldiers are often drugged with cocaine or meth to make them fearless and obedient. In Syria, fighters were given Captagon, a powerful amphetamine that made them feel unstoppable. Captagon suppresses fear, hunger, and fatigue, perfect for combat. But it also causes paranoia, aggression, and long-term damage. These drugs turn people into fighters who don't feel pain, who don't ask questions, and who don't hesitate. That's exactly what some commanders want. So again, do both sides use drugs? Absolutely. Whether they're state-funded soldiers or radical militants, the use of drugs to gain an advantage is common. The moral difference between them becomes harder to define when both are chemically altered. And what about the consequences? The short-term effects may be helpful on the battlefield, but the long-term damage is undeniable. Veterans report depression, anxiety, addiction, and memory loss tied directly to their time in service and the substances they were given. For child soldiers and guerrilla fighters, the outcome is often worse. Many can't return to normal life. Their minds are shaped by war and drugs, two forces that leave deep scars. There's another layer to this. In many places, wars are funded by drugs. Cartels and rebel groups sell narcotics to buy weapons. They use military tactics to protect their business. In Colombia, Afghanistan, and parts of Africa, drug money has fueled civil wars and funded terror groups. Sometimes, the war isn't even about politics, it's about control of the drug trade. So when we ask, are there good and bad sides? The answer gets complicated. Governments may claim to use drugs for safety and effectiveness. Rebel groups might use the same drugs for power and control. But in the end, both are using chemistry to break human limits. And that changes everything. Drugs don't care about sides. They don't distinguish between a freedom fighter and a warlord. They simply alter the brain, making people stronger, faster, more aggressive. And ultimately more broken. What's left when the fighting ends? For some, it's years of therapy. For others, it's prison, or homelessness, or silence. The mental health crisis among veterans is proof that the effects of drug-enhanced warfare don't go away when the guns fall silent. The war stays in their minds. And let's not forget how these substances affect decision-making. A soldier high on stimulants is more likely to act impulsively. That means more civilian casualties, more destruction, more chaos. When judgment is clouded by drugs, the human cost of war rises even more. In the end, drugs may help win battles, but they also create casualties that no one sees. The soldier on the battlefield and the fighter in the jungle might seem like opposites. But when both are running on chemicals, their humanity fades in the same way. The difference between hero and villain becomes harder to define when both are addicted to the same edge. That's the dark truth behind drugs in war. It's not just about better performance, it's about control, survival, and sometimes desperation. It's a weapon that doesn't shoot bullets but can still destroy lives. And if history has shown us anything, it's that chemical warfare doesn't always come in the form of gas or bombs. Sometimes, it comes in a pill or a powder. Sometimes, it lives inside the minds of those who survive. Right finger if you found this helpful, hit the like button, subscribe, and turn on the bell icon for more content like this. This is J03, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.